Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston, and it's just about June. And just so you don't think it's all bullshit or nonsensical shilling, this is the back of my truck. Do you see what I mean? And no, they don't give them to me free. So before anybody goes burping that up, it's not accurate. This is the website. The link is in the description. They give you a good deal. These guys are straightforward, no bullshit. They don't give out your credit card information. You can get started for $75, free shipping, grown and packed in the United States. That wasn't too difficult, was it?
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
America's vital interests in space lost out to special interests in Washington, except, of course, for the senators and congressmen here. They would never do it, right, Dana? But all of that is changing. We know that. My administration is reclaiming America's heritage as the world's greatest spacefaring nation.
Not too long ago, I ran into a subscriber at a gas station, and he was an active Army Special Forces operative, and he said that it freaked him out. What really woke him up was coming home from the theater. Theater meaning the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, and realizing that back home, our own government was using the media to use psyops against American people. This is from an active duty Special Forces dude. Do you see what I'm saying? And hopefully, if I'm not dead and he's not dead, or you guys aren't dead, he's going to come on here and tell us a little bit more about it. But when he told me that, it was perfect timing, because God puts everybody in my life for a specific reason, trolls and all. He put him in my life at that exact moment in time when I was really starting to doubt myself. And the craziest thing about this dude was he said, your videos woke me up. And I'm like, wow, that's a trip. Which one? He said, the flat earth. Now, bear in mind, this is a guy that's been to war numerous times, because we're America. We're constantly at war. That's what we do. That's what we produce. That's our main export, is democracy through the barrel of a gun. He said he's done halo jumps, high altitude, low opening, which means he's been in airplanes that are at 67,000 feet, which is twice as high as traditional airlines are. Do you see what I'm saying? And he said we weren't wrong. So out of every video I've ever made, the flat earth waking up somebody like that really freaked me out, but it was kind of good to hear. This shows without a doubt, without a shadow of the doubt, no pun intended, that the sun is much, much closer than we think. This channel has a Nikon P900, and he does photography like this all the time. Watch this sunset. He's going to put a filter on right now. So stand by. Bear with me. Bear with me. The sun is obviously and clearly setting right in the clouds. And when it continues to set, you will see it without a shadow of a doubt. No pun intended. He's putting on the polarizing filter now. That is in the clouds. He lives on a tropical island and has a phenomenal view. This is with the polarizing lens. You can clearly see the sun not only fluctuating in brightness, but it's setting in the clouds. There's no two ways about it.
Mine's not working.
Just tilt the marshmallow, Charlie.
It's still not working.
No, Charlie, tilt it 23.5 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Ball, Earth, Logic. Ball Earth Logic is highly contagious. If you encounter Ball Earth Logic, immediately research Flat Earth.
visually see the sun not only fluctuating in brightness, but it's setting in the clouds. What I'm showing you here is a few examples of what's called predictive programming. Predictive programming is when they put images or little hints in cartoons, movies, songs, videos, political speeches, so forth and so on, that pretty much predicts the future events that are going to happen. Like in The Simpsons, 9/11, and all the Twin Tower predictive programming that we saw before the actual event, but didn't realize it until afterwards. Well, now people are picking up on it more than ever before, and I'm not even sure, but I think a lot of the people picking up on the predictive programming now and then talking about it on YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, and all those other forums may actually be having an effect where it stops a would-be false flag because too many eyes are on it and it would be pinpointed. What I'm talking about in this video is the same stuff that I was talking about at the beginning of the year, the sun simulator. The sun simulator. Everybody sent me hundreds of images of what appears to be the fake sun. We found patents on the fake sun. Like this video I put up in March of this year, which shows the fake sun. It shows the simulator, and I realized that there are sun simulators on the planet that they use to simulate the sun in underground bunkers, so forth and so on. But everybody's watched this video, everybody's mirrored this video, copied this video, and had their thoughts on this video. But it appears that for the first time, one of the large New World Order companies, Boeing in particular, has actually shown this for the first time without a doubt. And it's a huge case of predictive programming. A subscriber sent me the link to this video a couple of days ago. I showed this yesterday in the live stream, and I'm going to show it to you right now. We weren't wrong. All those people that believe that they have a sun simulating satellite or machine were not wrong, because Boeing actually puts it right out there. Several people have put out videos showing how they could cloak such an object, and I believe a lot of us have actually caught photos of it or video of it. Stuff like this video right here. Things like this are just really, really odd to me, because then you see images like this. Now, this is an old Freemasonic drawing, and it shows exactly the same exact image that we're seeing in real life. Exactly. You see that right there, directly in the center of this sun image, the Freemasonic sun image, with their two pillars, Boaz and Jachin. It's right there. It's identical, absolutely identical. Absolutely identical. And a lot of people have said that's the digital camera. It has a built-in feature that causes this effect. The only problem is we've tested a variety of cameras. The Nikon P900 zoomed in absolutely to the max, 2,000 millimeters on the sun, and we have no apparition. Various iPhones, various small Kodak waterproof cameras, so forth and so on. And again, this matches the diagram, the Freemasonic diagram, exactly. But that still isn't the meat of this video. This patent was just one of many that was sent to me almost a year ago. And now we're finally seeing one of the big companies that would actually make it, one of the aerospace industry, actually show this in a video of their own. And I'm going to show that to you right now. This is a video made by Boeing. This is on their Boeing YouTube channel, and they're showing things in the future. Exactly 100 years, 2116, in the future. Now, things like this we've already seen. Exactly. Very happy. There's outer space. There's the space elevator. which is absolutely ridiculous, but we've talked about that over a year ago as well. This is what I want to draw your attention to. They call this a solar simulator satellite, an SSS. This is exactly what we've been telling you about for the longest time, and now Boeing's actually showing what it looks like. The reason I believe these are already in production is because they wouldn't show what it looks like if it wasn't, if they already didn't have the patent for it. These are 2 or perhaps 3 solar simulation satellites is what they call them. And how about that? Right down to the hexagons. How about that? You see the diagram? The sun is over here. It's reflecting its sunlight into this mirror, which goes through this satellite down to another mirror, and then it comes down right here. There it is. Boom. Slowly bringing it out. We've been telling you about this for over a year. I believe these are what we're seeing in the sky. And I asked Anthony Patch during a live stream, why would we need these? Because 20 years ago, the sun was right over us. The sun was yellow. We were all familiar with it. And now, for some reason, it appears that we've been bumped out of our orbit, or somebody's been fooling with the sun to the point, maybe some black magic. We don't know, because these guys are constantly doing their magical rituals right in our faces. Remember the beginning of this year? This is an incredibly satanic ritual, so much so that the mainstream media actually pointed out that this was an incredibly satanic ritual. You dig what I'm saying? These guys are coming out into the light. They're not hiding it anymore. This entire Gothard Tunnel ritual was basically celebrating them opening the pit, piercing the veil, and allowing Satan to come out of his bonds. I don't know how else to say that.
Results from a new study reveal a third of young American millennials aren't sure that the Earth is round.
National poll found that 18 to 24-year-olds are the largest group in the country who believe the Earth could be flat.
Step 1. Send your child to public school. Surrounded by images of our solar system, they will be taught everything they need to know about the world we live in. Step 2. Teach them about evolution. Constantly remind them how we have evolved from monkeys. Remind them that we are getting smarter and better in everything we do. And that once upon a time, people actually believed the Earth was flat, floating on the back of elephants. Such primitive minds. Step 3. Talk about the edge. We don't want you falling off now.
Perhaps one of the biggest issues with the flat Earth theory is this. If the Earth is flat, why don't we fall off the edge?
This model, of course, neglects the fact that such a planet shape would be impossible.
Step 4. Show them actual photographs of the Earth. But shh. Don't tell them that they're actually photoshopped, or that their favourite astronauts are repeatedly caught using wires and CGI. Step 5. Convince them that one day they too will be able to walk on the moon, or live on Mars. One day. One day.
Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story. Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, step right up to the greatest show on earth. This is a science alert. NASA wants to launch a giant magnetic field to make Mars habitable. And according to the author of this, it's so crazy it just might work. NASA scientists have proposed a bold plan that could give Mars its atmosphere back and make the red planet habitable for future generations of human colonists. By launching a giant magnetic field into space to protect Mars from solar winds, the space agency says we could restore the red planet's atmosphere and terraform the Martian environment so that liquid water flows on the surface once again. So, we've gone to just basically recently discovering the lie that perhaps there's water on Mars because there's nobody from NASA on Mars because Mars isn't something you can land on, to now we're going to terraform it. We're not going back to that pesky old moon because we haven't figured how to get through the Van Allen belt. Their words, not mine. This is beyond ridiculous. It's like NASA is a heroin addict and somebody gave them the keys to a poppy field. This is ridiculous. It's time for an intervention. I'm going to refer NASA over to the Potter's Clay YouTube channel. NASA, spend 29 minutes watching this so you can realize that we don't believe you anymore. Put the pipe down. Drop the needle. It's time to go to Mars Anonymous or Astronauts Anonymous because it's not even believable in any way whatsoever at all. I mean, are you kidding me? Okay, I'm going to start off this video by explaining something to my subscribers. We are on the verge of about 50,000 subscribers. I've been on YouTube for 6 years, almost 7 actually. And you can go back and see where I started. You're looking at it right now. I used to post videos of the work that I did in hopes of gaining more customers, so forth and so on, and it worked pretty well. And then, every once in a while I'd go outside to smoke a cigarette and I would look up and I would see this. Now, it really didn't dawn on me necessarily what I was seeing, but I've always been into space since I was 9 years old, which is 40 years, you know what I'm saying? And I started looking into it a little bit, and I started posting videos probably about 3-4 years ago about chemtrails. I would tell my family about it, I would point to them, and they would just laugh and go, "Oh, come on, that's nothing." Well, as you can see, this is clearly nothing. This started about 30 minutes ago, and this is the result. It's big, thick, and long-lasting. These things don't go anywhere. This is not condensation coming out of a Pratt & Whitney or a Rolls-Royce engine. None whatsoever. And if you look up NASA's information, the Appleman chart is what it's called. It explains to you the heights and conditions required for a plane to even leave a condensation trail behind it. And we're seeing this every single solitary day. So the Appleman chart is basically out the window. For those that don't know, they're spraying us. They're spraying us like bugs. Plenty of people have tested it until the lab stopped testing, but it's barium, strontium, and aluminum. Worst case scenario, there's other things in there that we just don't know anything about. But that's not what this video is about. Several channels have decided to start attacking me for whatever reason, and it happens. It's happened to me last year. It happened to me the year before. It happens, and I usually just ignore them. And for those that don't understand why I ignore them, let me ask you this. If you're on a bus or a train or in a supermarket and a mentally challenged person starts screaming at you, are you going to start arguing with them in front of everybody? Of course you wouldn't, because that would make you look insane. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't argue with them and win, correct? So there's that. Now on to this. See this video that I'm taking right now? I'm clearly, in the daytime, I'm zooming in on the moon. Let's watch this again. In the daylight, I'm zooming right in on the moon. No problem with a Nikon P900. And I can zoom even further than that, and I believe I will. There it is. You can literally see what looks to be stars shining right through it. Now let's take a look at this. This is going to be a little comparison. Right over here is the Boston skyline. See it? And right there is the Prudential building, which if you Google it from my house to the Prudential, it's 4.7 miles away as the crow flies. Not too far, right? I could probably fly the drone over there, but I might lose it, so I don't. At any rate, plus there's an airport right here. Yeah, I grew up next to the airport watching Logan dump all day long. This never happened in my first 30 years of life. It's all pretty new. At any rate, let's watch me zoom in on the Prudential building, shall we? This is going to be a test to prove that the moon is nowhere near 234,000 miles away. Watch. I got the tripod up. I've got the Prudential right in my sights, and here I go. I'm zooming in. That's the Prudential building. See it? Let me adjust the tripod for a second, because as you zoom, it goes up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Prudential building. You can almost read it because it says Prudential right there. And there you go. My camera is totally maxed out. I apologize for the shakiness, but when you're zoomed out 2,000 millimeters, the camera gets shaky. That is as far as I can zoom out with a Nikon P900 to an object that I know the distance, 4.7 miles away as the crow flies. Now let's watch me zoom in on the moon. That's 200 plus 1,000 miles away, and I'm trying to videotape the moon through an incredibly heavy atmosphere that they're spraying right in front of my eyes. We've already seen that, right? Okay, now I just turned the camera up, nothing more. I'm still standing on the same balcony. It's still the same incredibly chemtrail day. There's the moon right there, 200 plus 1,000 miles away. Let's zoom in. Here we go, and as I'm doing it, there's another plane right there, aerosol spraying, but that's not today's subject, really. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. All right, I must be maxed out, right? Nope, not at all. Here we go. Here we go through it. Now, remember, they are spraying like it's their job, and they're supposed to be doing it. Look how far I can zoom in on the moon. I can see those lights right there in that crater. I can see all these speckles right here on it. I mean, are you kidding me? And as far as I can zoom in on the Prudential building is so I can almost read the letters? Yeah, 4.7 miles away. And I might even Google Earth it and try to prove it. Hold on. Okay, this isn't my exact address, but it's right near my house. And if you've watched my videos, you can tell. If you go straight across the water right here, there's Boston. And I've already flown my drone over there, and it's less than 2 miles. Let me see if I can find the Prudential again. Bear with me. There it is right there. Now, if anybody knows how I figure out the exact mileage so I can show it, it's not very far. I can literally see it with the naked eye. I think I'm going the right way here. Am I? I might be following it up, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. Richie from Boston, everything that they tell us is a lie. I can zoom in more on the moon than I can on a building that I can see with my naked eye. That's crazy. They're lying to us. Do not believe NASA because they're lying about our entire origin. I put up that video about Trey Smith earlier, and people like, oh my God, he charges money. Well, guess what? He lives on this planet too. And when you spend all your time researching for people that just leave comments and don't actually make videos of any consequence, believe it or not, we're the only species that has to pay to live here. So if he wants to charge a little bit of money for his videos and I want to buy them and give them away, you shouldn't even be commenting because you're not adding, you're not helping. There's no, you see what I'm saying? You're just causing more chaos, which is exactly what the alternative media was set up to abolish. So there you go. Okay. Richie from Boston, like, share, subscribe. I am out.
sonoluminescence.
The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid. And you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star.
Every single solitary day, there's not one or two, there's at least 3 articles talking about Elon Musk, NASA, space, and going to Mars. These guys are not letting off the throttle. They're fooling the sheep left, right, and center. According to these guys at Kennedy Space Center, Elon Musk, billionaire rocket designer, was nervous watching the first ever takeoff of a previously flown rocket, a second-time first of sorts. I don't like having 2 boxes of Xanax. I think that might have helped. He joked. I was nervous that I wasn't nervous enough. This is just absolutely ludicrous in my opinion. But the fact, or the reason, let's say that, the reason they keep pushing this down our throat is because space is going to play a big, big role in what they're going to try to pull off on all of humanity, not just America, every single country on this planet. Now, I've shown this to you before, but this is for my new subscribers. This stuff goes back an awfully long time. Carol Rosen, not Jean Rosen, was the first woman corporate manager of Fairchild Industries and was the spokesman for Werner von Braun in the last years of his life. She founded the Institute, blah, 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 outer space, blah, 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 and this woman claims that Werner von Braun, a captured Nazi scientist that was put in charge of NASA, told her at the end of his life. This has been around for a long time, but for those that are new to the channel or haven't gone back in the videos and checked this stuff out, this is what they plan on doing. And there's a lot of evidence pointing directly at this, that they are really going to try to attempt this, in my opinion. It makes perfect sense. Bring everyone together, just like Reagan said, just like we've heard all the time. All the countries would unite.
Good morning. My name is Carol Rosen. In 1974, after being a 6th grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Werner von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space. And I said, teachers don't stop until June. He said, no, you have to understand, this is February, and we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies.
Alien abduction cards in the Illuminati card game. Now, why am I showing this? Well, you probably know why I'm showing this, because they tend to play out in reality. It would appear that the elitists, the people that belong to secret societies, to the Bilderberg, to the CFR, to all these different little groups, it seems that they're playing this game for real, because so very many of these came to light. Boston bombing, earthquakes in Japan, every little community bank being bought up by larger conglomerates, so forth and so on. Tobacco companies being made, they put it out in the public consciousness that everyone needed to smoke, and then they flipped the script and made everyone loathe people that smoked, and I kind of fall in that category myself. But these are probably the more famous ones. These came out before 9/11. This shows the same floor the Twin Towers got hit on. This shows the Pentagon. So, at any rate, it's all coincidence. I hear you. Everything's a coincidence when you don't want to believe your reality. But check these out. This is a video I did back in March of 2018, and I was showing you all the evidence for a fake alien invasion, a staged invasion. Now, in order to do this, they'd have to get the word out there. They'd have to fly around a lot of, really high-tech planes and claim they were UFOs. Well, we see that stuff all the time. People all over the country and all over the world are constantly getting video of the TR-3B, which is an Air Force spacecraft. You can see it right here. It's a triangular in shape. This was something that broke out in Belgium. It was called the Belgian wave. Now check this out. Belgium was experiencing so many actual sightings of these things. As you can see, this is an actual photo. And just a little FYI, this picture right here is what actually woke me up. It broke me away from this, plasma televisions, drinking at the bars, gold chains, so forth and so on, to where I am right now. That picture. Once I started researching that actual photo, because they said they could not debunk it, I went straight down the rabbit hole. So there's that. But let's take a look at this again. All the information they've allowed to leak out, all of it. Everyone's been talking about Project Bluebeam for years, ever since I've been awake, so that's almost 10 years. In order to project fake holograms into the atmosphere, they'd have to fill the atmosphere with some sort of a material or a meteor that made it easy for them to project like a movie screen in the sky. Well, what they need to do is load the atmosphere with barium, strontium, aluminum, and other things. And it's exactly what they're doing. But you've already seen this. I'll leave links to this in the description. Iron Mountain. In this video, I covered absolutely everything. But also in this video, I told you that in 2018, they were going to start ramping it up even more. Well, this is what I was talking about right here.
It may be that the cooperation of the world in space is to save civilization. And that could be the greatest force of peace there ever was.
Now, here's their favorite science puppet, their favorite astrophysicist, putting the information out that we need to have a space force. It's a good thing that Trump did it. It's not a weird idea. Suddenly, we're under attack from outer space to the point where they've developed a space force. But let me just throw this in, because I just noticed this right now. Take a look at this. Does this look familiar? Watch the way he's talking.
And it may be that the calling of a nation, but of the world. And it may be that
the way he's talking is not normal whatsoever at all. And it reminds me of somebody else that's way up there that helps push this agenda as well. This is totally separate from the topic I'm talking about, but let's check this out real quick. Here's another upper echelon guy. This guy was claimed to be an astronaut. So he's been into outer space, according to this story. Listen to the way he's talking right now, because he sounds insane. But listen.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
That the cooperation of the world in space is to save civilization.
Now, it just seems to me that these two are either under severe mind control or they're not even what they appear to be, but I digress. At any rate, the fact that in 2017, Harvard came out and straight up said they're spraying the atmosphere. I can show you the video, but I'm pretty sure all of you have already seen it, but here we go. This is Dr. David Keith and all his minions. This is Harvard's website. This is Harvard showing you how they're going to spray the atmosphere and reflect the sun back into outer space, exactly like we've been claiming, myself since 2012, but others since forever. This is no joke. When they came out and said they were spraying the atmosphere, I said that it was a means to an end. Well, it appears that this might be their end. If they're suddenly claiming that we need a space force to protect us from hostile, otherworldly entities, and these guys have stepped up the spraying exponentially, and Project Bluebeam relies on them spraying the atmosphere to use as a medium to project their holograms, well, what's that all sound like to you? To some of you, it might sound like crazy talk. But here's all the evidence. Just because you don't know it doesn't make it not so. Richie from Boston. I'm out.